Hello everybody, this is Bradley here. Got video number 12 for you today. What I want to put together is a video talking about templates. Everybody asks a lot of questions about, how do you do the templates? How often do you use them? What different types of bodies do you use them on? And how you make them. So I want to put a video together. I've been talking about it for a while, and I want to get the template one out of the way so everybody kind of has a knowledge of how to use them, and it's going to help you out a lot going down the road. So templates, first thing that you're going to want to do is whatever body you're going to do, you want to have it washed and masked. Okay, and a couple reasons being is, for one, you're going to be handling the inside of the bodies quite a bit, holding it with making templates and using the templates. And the other thing also is that the mask itself is going to help hold the templates in place. And I'll show you that going down the road as we go through the video. So get your body washed and masked and ready to go. And what I'm going to show you basically how to make templates on, this is a 12 scale GT on-road car. The same principles basically apply to an off-road buggy as well, or a truggy or short course or any RC body as far as that matter goes. So what I'm going to show you on the on-road car, just use these same principles on any body that you're going to use. So like I mentioned, this is a 12 scale body here, so it's a little shorter and a little easier to kind of demonstrate and show you. And what I've done on this particular body is, when you're making templates and you want to have a design and a car paint job that's going to be symmetrical, this is the best way to do it. Symmetrical meaning the left side and the right side of the car is the same. Most people like to have a symmetrical car for racing because when they're on the track, they kind of want the car to look the same going from left to right. If not, you get a little accident and spin out and your car's going the wrong way. Sometimes it's hard to pick out your car when it's out there on the track, especially if it's now in the opposite direction and it looks different. So some people, they want it to where it's not the same. So however you want to have it, it's up to you. But if you want one that's symmetrical, this is kind of the best way to do it. So all the tools that I use for designing and making templates, I'll show you right now. It's pretty simple. Use a Sharpie marker. There's other brands of markers out there that are like the Sharpie that work well on these, but I just prefer the Sharpie brand. They last quite a while. The other things that I use, a couple different tools, is I use a slide rule, like this one here. Slide calipers. They're digital. Don't be worried about it. You're not even concerned with the numbers. The other ones, if you have a set of dial calipers, these are what I use quite a bit because you can lock them in place and hold them from spinning. They're a little bit more easier to handle. So either one of those will work well for you. The other thing that I use is a flexible ruler. Okay, it doesn't have to necessarily be a 6-inch one. It can be anything really out of like a really, plasticky film type deal. Something that's flexible that you can use on the inside of the body. So you can even use, I've used like a little, like a debit card type deal or a gift card or anything of that nature that's it's solid, but it's still flexible. Pair of scissors. Never run in the house with scissors in your hand. And the other thing you want to use that helps you also is tape. Okay. And what it's going to help you do is it's going to help you kind of lay the lines out so things will be kind of straighter and easier for you to see if you want that really nice true line throughout the body. So those are the tools you use, really simple, and I'll show you how we use all of them as we go through the video. So first thing that you're going to want to do on any of the bodies for symmetrical, once again, is find the center of the body. And what I've done is I've kind of pre-done this for you to kind of help out. You'll see this line that I got running right down the center of the hood there that's in blue. That's the center line. And then what I've also done, kind of raise it up for you, hopefully you can see a little bit better, is I've got a bunch of other little red dots on there and red markings. And what I put those on there for is those are some key areas that you can use for reference points. Okay, you say reference points, or what am I referencing? What you're going to do is you're going to use your calipers to measure from those points when you're putting the stencils down to make sure that you've got them, not too far forward, not too far back, or left or right. You want to get both sides equally the same. So the calipers, what you're using them for is just the distance between the 2 points. You're not going to really even consider about the dial or how many millimeters or how accurate you're going to need to be on it. I just use it for reference points. So if you're measuring from one point to the other, you keep it there. The reason why I like these is they don't slide as much, so they kind of hold their place. So when you go over the other side, you can match it exactly without having to worry about it sliding on you. So That's really all you're using it for. Another thing that you can do too is if you don't have the calipers and you don't have anything of that nature, another pretty simple way is just use a piece of paper, okay? So if you're going to want to measure the distance, say, from there to there, you just use your paper, put it in the corner, put a little mark there, and now when you come over to the other side, you know how far it's going to be. It's pretty simple. It's not rocket science, but just another way to do it. If you don't have your calipers or your ruler or anything to do any measuring, use a piece of paper. When you're done with it, you can pitch it and you're all set. So it's pretty simple. But all these reference points you're going to need throughout the whole car, because when you're making a template, it's not one template. You're going to use multiple. And in a car like this, I would probably end up making 6 to 8 different templates. I'd usually make a template for the back, and this is all considering what the design is too. If you don't have anything on the back, you're obviously not going to need to make a template. But we'll start out, we'll do either the left side or right side, and then we'll eventually do the whole template for the whole car. And then the same thing for the front. We'll do one for one side and the other. And then on the sides, depending on the body and type of that it is, it's kind of tricky. I'll usually do one for the side. And then if you've got the design go up into the fender wells, you'll do another one on each side of it. And then also carry around to the back if you got a design on the back of it. So all said and done, when the body's all done and you're making your templates, you're probably going to have 8 to 10, maybe even 12 different templates. Don't worry about that. Sometimes the more templates that you have, the more accurate and easier it is to do. The reason why you're going to have more templates too is not all areas are nice and flat. Okay, the templates we're going to make, they're out of like a tracing paper. You're going to want to have it to where you can lay it right flat up underneath of the body. When you get to the fender wells in the sides of the body, they don't lay as nice. So if you had one big sheet of paper that you're going to lay a template underneath there, a lot of times it's not going to lay really flat. So you'll want to break it down to where you just do sections at a time. So you may do the upper quarter and the rear quarter, and then come in and do the middle, and then so on with the front of the car. So make as many templates as you need for your design. Sometimes, designs are very simple to where you can get away with, fewer templates. But just make as many as you need to get the design as accurate and clean as you can. A lot of these areas are going to be like the trunk jams. You can see I've got the red dots along there where you'll measure from. A lot of the other areas are like the A pillars, the B pillars, the C pillars on any of the cars. The top of the visors, the bottom of the visors. You can also use the body lines. Like on this Corvette body here, there's a center. If you look at the body head on, there's a center line. You can see the molding. So you can always use that as a reference point also. So if you're going to be going from left to right, you can take your calipers and measure right off of that line. The other areas are different hood lines. You can see how it kind of drops down on the inside there. The other thing too is like the corner of the headlights. They're good places to measure from because it gives you a definite starting and ending point. So you can measure from those. Parts that aren't that good to measure from are areas where there's a radius. See, like this headlight here kind of moves. When you're trying to do that, it's kind of hard to judge exactly where that's at unless you measure from that window line over. So for example, if you want to put a mark here, you can measure from there up, but you're still going to have to come back over here and put another line there. If not, you're going to get them off just a little bit from one side to the other. So keep in mind, this is kind of picky. It's kind of something that I always do in all the bodies because I want them to look symmetrical and accurate. If you're not that concerned or whoever you're doing the body for, they're not that picky, a lot of times you can eyeball these and get them very, very close. Trust me, when you're out there on the track or at the pit, not everybody's going to come over with a set of dial calipers and start measuring your car out to make sure that you're accurate and consistent on your design. So do the same principle on any of the bodies. Like for your off-road bodies, there's not as many points to take references from. The thing is you use a lot of times is the top of the window jams. Here's the back of the headrest area, I guess you would call it. You can measure from there. You've got the inside of these back supports that you can measure from. A lot of times too, if you have a body like this Proline one here, it's got an angle in it. That kind of gives you a reference point too. If you're doing flames, your design comes out, you know about how close you are on that from one side to the other. Okay. Once again, a lot of times you can eyeball and you can get it pretty close, but if you want to get it really accurate from one side to the other, you can go to this extent. I do this pretty much method here on most, if not all, the bodies that I do. The ones that I don't typically do are sometimes my own, where I can eyeball them and get them close enough, or other ones where the people don't want the bodies to be exactly symmetrical. So that should do it as pretty much as far as reference points on the bodies and how to make the templates. The one thing that's nice, and what I'll do is I'll show you on this 10 scale body. I'll make a quick template for you to show you how we make it, okay? The templates are pretty simple. I use a tracing paper, and you can get it at Hobby Lobby. This one here is particularly inexpensive. It's 10 bucks for a whole packet of it. This, trust me, is going to last you probably a year. When I'm making bodies, I use maybe one sheet per body. If it's a 10 scale on-road body, I may use one sheet for the whole body. If not, I always save the little pieces even and put them in a separate folder, and that way you've always got them to use, because a lot of your templates are probably not even going to be that big. So Hobby Lobby, it's like 10 bucks. They make this in different thicknesses. This is 50 sheets to it, and this is a 45-pound thickness. This is kind of middle of the road. I've used thinner before, but what happens is you start using the template over time, it gets into more like a tissue paper and it tears. So it's not as durable. It does fit inside the quarter panels a little bit easier, but pick a preference that you have. I use 45-pound, it's middle of the road. If you get it too thick, it doesn't fit in the wheel wells, and it doesn't contour the body as much. So it's a little bit more temperamental and fussy to work with. But get whatever one you feel comfortable with. I shoot for 45 pounds. That's kind of like the middle of the road. So pretty simple, Hobby Lobby. Okay, what we'll do is, a rule of thumb is when you're doing a body that's symmetrical, everybody's like, well, how long does it take you to draw it? Well, really, all you're having to draw is half the body, okay? Because what we're going to do is in a symmetrical body, that you don't have to draw each side out to make your template, okay? So what I've done is this blue line that I've made here is the center line of the body, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw something really simple. We'll just do some little spikes that are coming back. Nothing really fancy. They don't have to be perfect. And the thing that's nice about using Sharpies on all this stuff is you can erase it all. We've got that film on the outside of the body. If you don't like how it looks, you can erase it and move it. You know, you can change your lines. You can move it forward or backwards, or sometimes you'll get drawers block and you won't like it at all, and you'll erase the whole thing and start over. So just for an example, we'll do that. And what we'll do is I'll just kind of, for those that like to do the duplicate lines, we'll come on back and we'll just put in that second line there for us. So it kind of gives like a little spiky look to it. I'm kind of drawing it upside down here, but you guys will get the point. So that's what we're going to say is our roof line is going to be on that. So we want to basically take that, flip it over, and match it on the other side so it mirrors it, and it's going to give us a template, okay? So we've already got that one drawn. What we're going to do is cut off a sheet of paper roughly the size of the template you're going to make. And you can kind of see right there how I've done it. It's just slightly larger. So what you'll do is you'll hold it in place on the top, and you're going to go right over the top, and you're going to trace it. What I do is I always leave a little bit of room to go right over that center line there, and I kind of put a little dot on it. And then you go right over the top and you trace it. And this is how we're going to make our template. Pretty simple. Now the cool thing about this is you can use the body as a canvas and start out with nothing on it, and you can draw on the body and you can start over and erase it and change it as you go. Other people, and what I've done a lot in the past, is I'll bring the paper with me somewhere and I'll sit and I'll doodle. You know, you can draw different lines or different flames or different configurations or however you want to do it, and then you've already got your template made. Then you put it on the body and you kind of measure it up to however you want to have it on the body, so you can move it around and make it however you want it to look. So if you can do it better, drawing it freehand on a piece of paper, by all means, make a template and have at it. When you make the template, something that I've always done from day one is you need to make sure that you get the right direction and how you use that template for the other side. So one thing that I've always done when I make a template is I always put an arrow pointing in to the roof of the body, and I always put another arrow going forward, okay? However you decide to do it, you can do it. If you have it to where you want the arrow pointing the back. But what it's going to do is going to give you an orientation of this template of how it was drawn and how it needs to be placed on the body. Okay. The other thing that I'll also do is I'll write on the template itself what it is. Okay. So if it's a roof line, I'll write roof on it. Kind of clean my line up there a little bit. The other thing that I'll also do, and I'll show you a little bit further in the packets that I put together, is I'll write what scale that it's on there. Okay. So we'll say it's a 10th scale on-road car. Okay. So this is the template that we've made. Shows you which way it needs to be going, so that way I don't accidentally grab it and put it on backwards or upside down or the wrong way, and it's got an arrow going forward as well. All my templates, I do that. If I make a template on the side, arrow going up, arrow going forward. On the back, same thing. Arrow up, arrow forward. If I do it on the trunk lid, same thing. Arrow forward. That way it gives you an orientation and you're not messing it on up. Okay? What you'll want to do then is, all this excess paper here that you've got, you want to cut that off. You don't need any of that. So we'll go through and we'll cut that off. Okay? Pitch this, scrap. And this is your template. Okay? So regardless of whatever body or whatever car you go to put it on, you've got a template made for you. We'll finish up the roof here. So what we'll do is we'll take this now and we'll flip it over. So once again, you're looking at the arrows pointing in and the arrows pointing forward. Why I mentioned that you'll want to have the body liquid masked first. If you don't, you can see how much we're going to touch the inside of the body. But this is kind of tacky. Everybody knows what liquid mask feels like. When you put your template on that, it holds it pretty good. It doesn't want to move around as much. It's going to hold it. So when you get it in place, just like that, you can sit there and hold it. And it's not going to want to move around any much at all. When you're making your template, remember I put those extra dots? The extra dots you're going to take and you're just going to line up right on that center line, okay? And that way you know you've pretty much got them lined up as you go. Now what we'll do is, since we have that out, I'll just take it and we'll draw it out. And keep in mind, like I said, a lot of these lines, they're just for reference. You don't have to draw them perfect at all. All your lines are going to come with your steady hand at the end. So, you know, if I'm kind of drawing this one upside down and looking at me, so it's a little bit different than what I'm used to. But you'll see that you just got to pretty much get it right close to those lines as you go around. We'll finish that one up. Okay. So what you basically got now, there's your roof completed. Kind of a cool design, you know. I mean, it's got good symmetry to it. It's got a little bit different depths in your lines. You know, they're not all the same length across it, and the lengths are slightly different on them. But however you come up with your design, that's how you can make it. So I always keep the individual sides. Okay, you don't have to mark it left or right because you're going to flip it over and you've got the arrows for orientation. But the other thing that helps, if you're going to be doing more of like the 10th scale bodies or, you know, an 8th scale or whatever you're doing in a bigger area, what you then do is go back and cut out a bigger piece of paper and you can lay it right over the top and you can make it one whole template now. So you're going to draw all that in there, which is basically two of these together. Okay, so you can hold the paper on it. Some people will tape it. Some people use magnets and whatever. That's one way to do it. The other way you can do it, take your piece of paper and fold it in the middle. Okay, you're going to have a straight line. Okay. Open it on up and you're going to see right where that crease is at. You can take this original template that you had, lay it right underneath it. You're going to put it right on that line. You're going to draw it on out. We'll kind of trace over it again. And a lot of times you can, if you want to make the one template and not have to flip it over and do the other side, you can do this trick on either one of them. Okay. So we're just retracing over the template. And now that we know where our center line was at, because we fold it perfectly in half, we can now take it and fold it right back on that line. And now we're going to draw the other side. Pretty easy way to do it, pretty simple, without even having to really touch it on the car. So if you prefer to do it this way, this is another way to do it also, and you're still going to get that nice center divider line because you folded the paper perfectly in half. Kind of rushing a little bit here, but we'll kind of give you the general idea on how to do it. Okay. So when you open it up, there you go. There's your one hole template. So you can then take this and cut it out like that. Get rid of all your excess stuff so it doesn't get in the way when you're tracing it on the body. And now you got a one-piece hood design. I keep both of these, and I'll show you why. There's a couple different reasons. When you go to use these templates, you can use these on anything. Okay, you don't have to necessarily use it on a 12 scale on-roll body. If you have a buggy body, look what we'll do. We'll take the same template and we'll put it on the inside of a buggy body. And now you can use that same design to go over and transfer that design right onto the buggy body. I'll kind of rush through it here really quick to show you. Obviously, if I was doing this for a customer body, I would take a little more time and get the lines a lot better and crisper before I cut them. But you can basically use that template on any design. You can take that template and you can turn it upside down. You can use it on the back of a car if you wanted a different design. You can spin it forward. You don't have one shot of the body going with the spikes to the rear. Take the front part and let it go to the front. So you can use the template on any different type of vehicle, any different scale, and come up with cool designs. Over the years, I've got a tub that has thousands of these things in it where I've just done a design just for something to doodle and come up with. And I'll keep it because there's sometimes you may look through there when you get a mental block and you can't draw really good, where you can take that template and you can create it on any body. So you can come up with all different types of designs. But what you need to do is you're starting to create templates. Most people like drawing it on the body because it gives you a better visual of what it looks like. If you have something that's a different scale, I'll show you, which is kind of cool. It changes the looks of a body, but it's the same principle. This is a little micro body I just did the other day. But you can take these flames. If you wanted these flames to be longer, here's a little set of mini templates that I drew up. Get a little brighter here for you where you can see it. You can take these and you can put it right on that micro body and make those flames stretch even further back. This is typically one that I did for a mini body that, once again, you can draw it out by hand if you want on a flat piece of paper, or you can draw it on the body and make a template over it. Now, you can take other bodies or you can take other art that's on a piece of paper, use this tracing paper to put over it, and copy your design onto that. And then that way you don't even have to draw it on the body. You're just basically making a template off of whatever photo picture you've got. We used to years ago use the Team Losi logo. You can take logos and paint them on. If you want to make templates like this to hand cut them, different designs, different figures, different faces, whatever you want to use, that you can use this tracing paper to trace it with it. So these flames here, I've done quite a few of them on these little mini bodies, but you basically just hold it underneath it and lay it right over the top. And I'll draw one out here just for you for a little bit to show you. So you kind of go right along and you'll trace these lines. The closer you trace them, the better they're going to look. And the thing that I always do too is I always just do the single line. Some people like to get really intricate, and I got another body over here that I'll show you that I'm doing to kind of show you what I'm talking about. But the thing is when you're cutting these out is when it counts, okay? People will sit and they'll spend hours or a lot of time drawing out the design of the body and making all those other parallel lines. It doesn't matter how nice you make them drawing them, you gotta cut them. So if you don't have the steady hand to cut it, you can sit there and draw all day, and it's only going to be so good and it's only as good as that you're going to cut it. So I'll kind of show you what I mean. We'll pull it off really quick. And this is a rough design. When I go to cut this, all I'm cutting is just this single line. I'll go back and I'll take that off after the initial cut's done. I'll erase the line with alcohol. And then I'll go back and I will hand cut that inside second line. Some people can't do it because they don't have a steady hand or their eyes aren't good enough to follow that line inside of that body. But what's going to happen is, and I see it all the time, a lot of painters will have their body all done and completed, and I'll look at the picture and they'll still have the Sharpie marker on it. And I'm like, and I ask people, like, well, why do you guys have why do you leave the Sharpie marker on it once you cut it? You know, because you need to see the lines to cut that second line. So for example, if you go through there and you cut it, you're not going to see your starting point on the top of that flame because it's hidden underneath the Sharpie marker. Same as that one. Same with some of your radiuses and stuff. So when you're cutting and you're going through there and you need to turn the body to make that, with that Sharpie marker on there, you're not going to see where that inside line is at. So what I always do is once I've drawn the initial lines on it, I'll go back and I'll take the iso alcohol and paper towel and delete the design. Okay. Now what you'll do is after you've got that initial cut, you're going to look on over the light board and you're going to see that first line. That's where I go back in with my hobby knife and I'll cut that inside second line because it's going to see you exactly how far you're cutting that to keep those lines perfectly parallel. Like a lot of people ask, how do you keep those lines so clean? Because I'm looking at a cut to make that second cut instead of trying to look through a Sharpie marker or trying to judge where that line is at. One thing that I almost always see is on a flame job, what people do, and I think a lot of it's because they may not be able to see it or they don't have a steady hand, but I think they're looking through it, is they'll start their cut here, and they're not going to know where to see that second cut. So inevitably, they end up coming back and they crisscross that line right there. And you're always going to see because they couldn't tell exactly where that starting point was at to make that other line going into it. So you're always going to see that X in it. A lot of times you can hide it in paint. A lot of times you can't. So a lot of times when I go to look at a paint job, you can tell by how accurate they are by those lines and the intersection points on a lot of those lines. So like I said, a lot of times you can hide them. If you can't, just try to get them as close as you can to prevent that from happening. It happens a lot on the window jams, a lot of different designs where 2 points come together in an intersection. So I always erase the Sharpie marker. When I'm cutting it on out, I clearly see where everything is at. A lot of times people too leave the Sharpie marker on there for the line, so when they're changing out the colors throughout the paint job when they're painting it, they can kind of look at that darker line to get an idea of where to pull that next color off. So however it works for you, if the Sharpie leaving on it works fine for you, continue to do it. If not, and you've got a light board, you're going to get some great lines and you're going to get a lot better if you can see that cut line because that's what you're going to go by to make that second inner cut. So just kind of the way that I do it. You kind of learn throughout the years and sometimes it's easier to see this stuff sometimes that it isn't. So we showed you how to make the templates. We kind of showed you how to put them on the placements of the body and how to use them. You'll go throughout the whole body making templates throughout the whole car. So when you make the nose one, when you make the left one, the right one, the different fenders and such, you'll create them all the same way. I always tag them and mark them. That way you know what's fender to use it on and which side, which area of the body to use it at. So like I said, if it takes 8 or 10 or 12 templates, you know, if you're putting a little logo on the back and you want one there, use as many as you need because that's going to make it a lot easier than trying to use, you know, for example, if we had a bigger piece and you're trying to tuck it up there in that fender well, it just doesn't fit as well. So cut these down and use them a little bit smaller to get them to kind of contour to that area where you need them at. So pretty simple and pretty easy to do. Keep these templates, and I'll show you what I do with them personally at the very end, and it kind of helps out. It takes time to make the templates. It may take you 45 minutes to an hour or however long and intricate your design is for using to make the templates. Whatever time you're spending now, trust me, you are going to save up in it at the end if somebody comes back to want multiple bodies, to want to be able to duplicate that design, whether for yourself, for one other body, or for 10 different bodies. You're better off when you get the design to start out making templates right off the bat. It's going to save you a lot of time. If you don't know that the person is going to like that design or not, depends on if you want to make a template or not. If you think that, hey, look, even if they don't like it, I want to keep that template for other bodies, you've already got them made. So hang out of the templates. They come in very handy. Light back up now. Next thing we'll move on into is if you already have templates made. So for example, I do a lot of pre-painted bodies when I have some free time or if I'm wanting to fill up a batch. I got a design that I like that's kind of cool. It's very simple, very easy to do. It's a design that you can create with a lot of colors. here's some of those designs and those templates that I've made over time. So for example, here's what I'll use for the nose piece on it. I have one on here that's for the roof. So I know when I lay those out, they'll go right over the top of the roof like that. The nose piece goes right there. The other thing I do on this design too is kind of cool is these are all kind of similar. You know, they got little spikies, little swoops on them, whatever you want to call them. Depends on how you want the design to look. You can take a bigger one like this. Move these top ones here, and you can lay it right down on the side. And you can kind of fold it and curve it right on up. So when you're drawing it, you can kind of hold it like that. And you can use just the one template for pretty much that whole side. Real quick and easy, quick and dirty to get it done. Keep in mind that your cuts is what's going to determine it. So you can kind of see the paper doesn't lay really good here in the end. You can kind of flatten it down. But what you can also do is just kind of use your imagination and draw that line of what it would look like if it was laying flat. So go along and just parallel them like that. Okay. Now these here, because you got so many different ones, you can come back in and you can lay another spike in front of it. Like if you wanted to do a duplicate spike. Or you'll have a different color in the front. You know, you can change these divider lines to different colors. You can create multiple designs just by off of using that one template. Okay. And you don't have to always use them on there. If it's something that you're just winging it and freehanding, you can create the design however you want. The thing that's cool on these two is if you wanted to flip it upside down, you can put it backwards. You can use just the front part on the nose if you wanted to. You can use any one of those angles and designs that you want. Heck, you can even use it for the top of the side if you want. Okay? So you can use them on different multiple areas on however you want. Okay? The thing that you can do too is you can even go back if you wanted to grab, say, like the mini body, and you wanted to do something like with a bigger flame on it like this, you can make that whole flame drape right down that whole body. Like on this one here, we were just going to use it for the hood, but you can go back and you can create that whole different design where you can use that template on a little micro body or a mini body even. Okay? So if you want to keep the same design and you want it the same, what you do is like, it's kind of like a puzzle. Like I said, you grab the kind of pieces where you wanted it. This one I used for a truck body. With this one here, I had labeled right lower side. You can see I had the arrow pointing up and the arrow forward. This one here was the left lower side. Here's the right upper side. Here's the left top pods, I call them, which is up on the top. And then I had the nose piece somewhere. Here it was. Oh, here it is. That's the nose piece. So when you get the design out, you're going to have all the different pieces in the places. Now, some say, well, I'll put a number on it. You know, do a number on it however you want to do it. I just kind of write on there what it is, so that way you know when you grab it what part of the body you used it on. So, kind of a pre-paint, quick and down and dirty paint jobs that you can do. I like these designs because it's very simple, very easy to cut. Something like this, when it's all drawn out, it's probably going to take you roughly 5-6 minutes to draw it. Probably 10 minutes at the most to cut it out. That's being very picky and critical and doing the window lines too. So it's something that's quick and dirty to do. A lot of the other designs that I use with the templates for the racers, taters, Dakotas, some guys like that were using multiple colors and different layers. It could take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour just to cut the body out. So if you didn't do that and every time you wanted to go back and duplicate their design, you're going to have to look at that picture of the last one that you've done and try to say, well, I kind of had this design here, well, no, and move it around and jockey with it to get it to look close to the other one. This way here, you know you've already got the templates out there, okay? The thing that you want to use, and to go back a little bit on these, on the red markings for your reference points, when you're taking these templates and you're laying them down, if you do it on one side, okay, we'll put a spike down. And you'll draw it on out. And what you want to do is you want to take a measurement of, like, say, for how far away the spike is from the center line. So we'll kind of adjust one of these spikes around. And what we'll do is we'll measure from the tip of it to the center line. And then what you want to do is go over to this side and make your dot of where your template line is going to be at. That way you can use those different areas for reference points of where the tips of the spikes and stuff need to go. So hopefully that'll help you out. A lot of times, like I said, you can eyeball it. You know, if you're bringing your spike in, we'll move one of these down. It's kind of towards the tip of it. you know that when you come over here, this spike right here will measure from the center line, which is right here. It's now going to come over here, and you're going to put a dot. And a lot of times I'll scribe it out. And right there's where it was at. So that's where, when you flip this over now, that spike is going to need to go and fit right back on top of that. Okay. So use those areas that I measured out, like the lines for the windows, the visors, the headlights, the quarter panels, the body cut line, any of those door jambs for when you're doing it. Because if not, it's easy to take these different templates and get them too far up or too far down from one side to the other. The other way why I kind of get so critical with it is because of doing multiple bodies, and for a lot of the racers that race, the pro drivers that are obviously better than me, I try to keep it the same, because if you take that spike, we'll say, and the drivers used to seeing that on their car on the track, if you take that and you tip that and you move that line up, and I'm kind of exaggerating here, or the line's down a little bit, when that car's on the track, that car looks totally different going around. So if a guy's trying to see if his car, the ride height is too high or too low, a lot of times when you're looking at it on the track, that visualization they're getting of that spike is what they're actually seeing. If you take and tip that up or down, it's going to change the looks of the attitude of that car on the track. So for the pros and the top guys that run, I try to get those designs very, very, very close and as accurate as I can. So when they do have it out there on the track, they're going to see it. And it's not going to give them a funky look to the car that's going around. The other thing, too, is a lot of the drivers like to put their sponsors in certain areas on the car. If I keep that design kind of consistent, for the guys that have the logos and the designs and the decals they want to put, they can continue to put them on the same area of the car and not worry about covering up the design if they want to. So hopefully that makes sense on the red reference points that I used that were on it. Just kind of helps you get the whole template and the whole design put on the car more accurately, more consistency from car to car. From that, people say, well, how do you make them look all the same? Well, I'll show you. Here's a design that I'm doing for one of the local racers we've got. I've used his templates, and here's his templates that I made. And I'll kind of put them over here and show you. These are the ones that have both the lines, and typically I don't do these on the car, but I'll show you why I do this one. You can see on his here, this is like the 10th scale lower side, so it tells the scale. This is the 10th scale roof. This is the nose part of it. This is also part of the roof and the hood. Here's the side fender well. The reason why I do it on this particular design is because it's not so much these lines here you can get parallel, but I've got these little jot backs where it gets a little bit thicker. So that way I know when I'm drawing it that those lines are going to go into that point, okay? And what you'll do is you'll use kind of the different reference points to make sure that you got those from left to right. On this one here, particular design, I don't have a one-piece hood for it. I still use the single sides. So you can kind of see here, we laid it right down there. And then what I do is I just take it then and flip it over and put it on the other side and draw it on out. So a lot of times you can kind of freehand it. Once I get done, if I look like the lines are a little bit crooked or I want them straight, I can go back and hand draw them. The other thing is kind of cool too that I do a lot of times is if there's something that you want to change, you can go back with a toothpick. And toothpicks actually erase the Sharpie off of this really good. So if you want to get your lines even cleaner yet, you can go back and clean them all up and get them more straighter. So you can kind of see them a lot better. Something you don't have to do because, like I said, your cut is actually what's going to make the difference in it to get that clean cut. But so this design, what I've done is I've got this body already done. Both left and right's done. The pods are done on it. The nose is done. The roof is on it. If you have somebody that's using the identical body, most of these bodies will fit just like that, right over the top of the other one. Okay. So now what you do is you hold it up kind of square to you, and I'll kind of leave it laying flat since you're getting a different camera angle. And you'll basically go right along the lines, and you're going to duplicate it. So I'll kind of draw these sides out. So it's going to make it even quicker for you because you're able to cheat and you don't have to use those templates like we did on the other sides of them. So if you've got a bunch of the bodies that are the same body, that they fit over each other nice, you can do that, especially on the top of it. And I'll kind of complete this side here and show you. Just do it kind of quick again. And you do that for the whole entire body. You'll do the nose, the roofs, and so these sides are easy to do, but what happens is when you turn it to the side, you're not going to be able to squish it down. Sometimes you can get it pretty close. The other thing that you can do is you know that if you're only going to be, here's the difference in the thickness of the body. So you can draw your line right above it, but you got to do that above it over every line you're doing. The up and down doesn't really matter because it's still the same looking from the top down. What I typically do, you can do this way to cheat it and it's going to come pretty close. The sides, I'll go back and I'll grab the templates, okay? This will kind of show you here also on some of the lines. Here's the cut line, and I'll kind of draw it for you. So I know this is the bottom of the body. This one here, I'm going to grab it. This is 10th scale side lower. That's going up, that's going forward. These dots that I put here, that's on that cut line. So for example, what I'll do is I'll take that template now, and I'll draw it, and I'll put it, there's a dot there, and there was a dot there and a dot there. So I know to get that the right height, I'm going to go this high off, right on down and trace it. And I'm kind of rushing here to save us a little bit of time on the video. But you're going to trace along that, and now it's going to be exactly the same from the left to the right. That way you don't have to worry about, you know, going above the line is accurate on each side. It's just as quick sometimes to just take the template and make it. So that way you know when you come over to the other side, you're going to be able to match it exactly. So the tops, you can do it and get away with it, putting it right over the top of the existing body. The sides, I just go back and grab the templates and just do the sides. It's still going to be a lot quicker than the other thing. If you have the same design on different bodies and they don't stack, you're out of luck. So use the same templates and start over. A lot of times what I'll do is the popular is the J concept bodies like these. Everybody will have the different F2 bodies, the S15s and so on, to where it's the same design, but they don't stack. One has a fend on the top, another one's got a step down like this one. There's all different types. What I do is I'll line up all three of them, and I go through these and the templates, and I'll do one at a time. So what I'll do is I'll grab the nose, and I'll do the nose on every body, put the template away. I'll grab the roof, I'll do the roof on all of them, and I'll do the left and right sides on all of them. So I kind of get an order to it, so you're not having to mix things up. If you've already got the template in your hand, rather than put it down and go in and finish in the body, I'll just use it on every body, boom, 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 and be done with it. It kind of helps speed up the process as well. You're all going to get done at the same time versus one having totally done and then go back and start and fresh over in the other. That's just how I prefer how to do it. So that will show you how to make duplicate bodies, especially if they stack really nice and easy like that. You can kind of get away with it and save yourself a lot of time. So if you get somebody that's going to do 3 or 4 bodies, it's going to speed up the process altogether even that much quicker. The other way to do it is we'll take a design here that we've got, is if you want to take and create a template off of already design that's been made, okay? So what we'll do is I'll grab a piece of paper here that will cut out a little square. So you can take an existing body, whatever you want to use it from, and you can take the tracing paper and you lay it right over the top, and you're going to trace that design. Now it's a little more difficult to see because you don't have the light showing through it, like we're working with on the other bodies. But the paper's transparent enough where you can still see the design that you're going to want to trace, okay? So you can go over the top of these and you can pull the design off of that. Now, I know a lot of people like to cheat and duplicate and copy other people's body. It is what it is. People enjoy making duplicate bodies of another scheme for a reason because they like it and they like to see it on the track, or they'll change the colors of it or whatever, but you can take an existing body, whether it be your own or somebody else's, and you can create a design off of it. Now you can see we've just basically duplicated that little design that's on the roof of that. So you would once again arrow forward, and since it's on the roof, there's no left or right, so you just know that that's on the roof going forward. If not, you could have put it on backwards. But that's how you can take and you'll go through and you'll make templates off an existing body, and you'll make the same amount. I would probably use one for this area, another for this front area. I would do like the top pods. You got the back area here. You got the nose. And then obviously the other sides on this body is symmetrical, so it's going to be the same on the other side. So that's how you would make templates off of an existing body. Make as many templates as you need. It's just a little bit more difficult to see through a painted body than a clear body when you're making your own design. Another cool thing that you can do, the Jeff Gordon fan that I am, is this is the low-C body, the NASCAR, that's out. So what you can do is, years past, many years ago, when we were racing on-road and oval classes that we had, I used to do all these bodies all the time, and it would take forever. Got a few of them autographed. I got a few of them that were given to people and sitting around different shops in the areas, but it's time consuming. They are cool looking when they're done. They're pretty bad. They look realistic, especially on a car that's got extremely good scale to it like this car, but they take forever. And it's going to take you hours to draw them out, to lay them out, and to cut them. When they're done, though, they're pretty cool. What I did with this was I collect a lot of his die cast and stuff. I basically took a die cast car, a 24 scale, set it down, and you can use your camera. You use iPhone, Android, whatever you have, and you want to take a picture of the top of the die cast. And you want to take the picture of it from the nose down, okay? What you'll do then is you've got a nice square shot of that number. If you're taking it from the side or in an angle, that number is going to be distorted and it's not going to look perfectly like the real car does. You need to have a shot looking right straight down onto it, okay? This particular one, I even was able to capture the flames that are off of it, so that's going to be the flame design on it. And you'll go through and you'll do the border and everything. It's going to look exactly like the real car, okay? What I did too is I took the calipers and I measured the distance from the roof rails to the number and scaled them to where it was the same one as the die cast. So the numbers are going to be, you know, exactly what they need to be, left to right and front to rear. Did the same thing on the side. You put the car on the side, take a side snap of the picture of the car, right square. It has to be square, it can't be on an angle. And what you can do is, on an iPhone, you can make a template. You can take that picture and you can open it on up, or you can shrink it down if you need to. Take another picture of that, and then what you'll use is your phone or a tablet. A lot of times is what I use because it's a lot more bigger and square and easier to draw on. And you can make that template right off of your phone, okay? It's pretty simple, pretty square, and pretty easy to do. If you got questions on that, let me know. I'll find a way to do it because I'm recording with my phone now. I can't demonstrate on how I do that, but you can make a template right off of your phone or your tablet just by opening that up and shrinking it or moving it however you want to. This one here, you can see once I get it all done, I've kind of sized it on up to where when you put the number on the side of the car and you're going to tuck it right up in that fender well, you can kind of see how that line and that number is going to be perfect where it needs to be. Or you can be creative how it is nowadays and slide that number forward, however you want to do it. But that's how you can do different designs and different numbers, and you can make the scales bigger or smaller using a tablet or using your phone just by simply taking the picture and blowing it on up and then snapping another picture of that size, and that way it'll stay there all the time. Same thing. His car is different. I know the real car, one time by accident, they had the 24 that was actually placed going at the different angles. So on these cars, because of it, and I know for a fact, that is not how the 24 goes on the Gordon car. The numbers are actually slanted the other way. So you'll need to make templates on the number on whichever particular car on this one. So on this one, I'll have to basically do the numbers, except do the Photoshop on the right side of the car to make a template for the right side. So these will be area-specific templates on this car. So you'll see pictures of this. I'll be racing this one when it's done. It should be pretty cool, though. I'm looking forward to it. So that's kind of a way how you can do a lot of the NASCAR stuff. You can take the designs and the logos off of any type of advertisement or any type of article that you want to use it from. So the last thing that I'd like to talk about is what do you do with the templates and how do you keep them? How do you store them? I have been collecting these templates for years, and I'll kind of show you an example. Here's the packets. This is probably like 1/10 of what I've got. I've probably got like 400 or maybe even more. I haven't even counted them, but they're all different packets and templates that I've done for guys over the years. I keep them. My intentions is painting bodies is guys are going to want to have duplicates. They want to come back and have more done. So I started out doing templates from day one, and I've continued to do it all the way through. All the box arts that I've done, all of the advertisements for Proline, J Concept, anything for RC Driver Magazine where they've done reviews, I've got all those templates, so I can basically go back and duplicate whatever. I know Jason at J Concept not too long ago had me go back and do some more of the monster truck that he had. There was a design that we used, but he wanted to change the colors around. But by having the templates, I've already had the designs and everything ready. So it kind of sped up the process a lot, made it a lot easier. What I do with these is I keep them together in packets. I keep them for years. So any driver that's had bodies done, I keep them. I'll show you a couple here that I've done just to pull out. Like here's Dakota's new X-ray bodies for his tent scale. The bodies change over the years. You know, when they go from, you know, to whatever type of body, you know, the cabs are going to move forward, back. The side pods are going to change. They're going to put fins in it. So you're going to have multiple templates. And you get to the point to where a lot of the templates won't fit or won't look exactly the same as the previous body. So what I go through is I put an envelope together, a packet that I call it, and it's got each driver's templates in it. So for example, this is Dakota's new 10 scale X-ray bodies. Here's his new 8 scale buggy and truggy. I keep them done by scale. Here's his older ones that he's done, his 10 scale. And we'll kind of go through them. I got his one of his trucks. We did a little 8 scale mini car for him. But I keep these all together. And the reason being is a lot of the drivers, because they race so many different types of cars, rather than putting them all in one envelope, I know exactly what envelope has what templates in it. So if I know he's going to be running his 8 scale stuff or 10 scale, I'll just pull that packet out and bring it with me to make it, because that way I know all the templates for that are in there, and I don't have to go digging through all of them for his multiple tiers for the cars that he's running. The other thing that's nice and cool about it too, like here's Taters. Over the years, like when I first got Taters, I'll go through and I will write down the recipe on how to paint the car. Because if you got it right, you want to remember how you did it. And it may be a month, it may be 2 months, it may be 6 months before you go back to duplicate a driver's templates that you're going to have. But one thing that I always do is I write down the order and the sequence. I use what color that I'm using on it. I use how many coats, what I'm backing it with. And also what I'll do is I'm going through and I'm painting the bodies from batch after batch. I'll look for ways that may work better painting it. It could make it easier or faster, but it also could make the lines and the design come out a lot cleaner. So you'll go through and you'll make changes as you go. Here's one for Nate Sutherland that we just finished up. We changed and added some red on his body. But I'll go through and you can use this. This is what we did the old bodies, and now we changed it. We went and put some pearl red and stuff on it. So you can use this packet here as a recipe when you're going to paint the body. You've got the templates in it, but it's also going to tell you exactly, you know, what paints to use. Like for his example, the gold, there's a couple different golds that are out there. I'll even write the paint number down, which is a specific gold that we used on his body. So it's a great note card. It's a great cheat sheet. I cover these up, but a lot of times I'll put the address on there, or, you know, how much the customer pays for the bodies. May have phone number on there, but it has all the information that I need when I'm grabbing that packet. So what I do, and I can't show you behind me now because I'm using my camera for the video, but I'll take the bodies when I get them, I'll wash them, I'll mask them, I'll get them ready with their names on them. These packets go sit right on the body until their turn is up and they come up in line to do it. So when I have the bodies are already washed, already masked. I have their packet here. It's got all the templates in it. When I take these down after they're being cut out, the packet goes with it. So when I go down to paint it, I do a quick review over the order that I do the bodies. A lot of these I have memorized. But if I have a question like on Nate's, for like the example, the color of the gold, I'll pull that gold off and take it to the booth with me when I paint it, because I know I'm grabbing the white colors. He had pearl white on his bodies also instead of regular white. It kind of gives me that idea if it's been a while since I painted it. In a photo, it may look like regular white, but you want to make sure that you get them exactly the same, so you use the pearl white. I do this on everybody. If you had a body painted for me in the last probably 15 or 20 years, I can always guarantee you've got a packet that has your templates and everything on it with all your code on how that I paint them up. So that's how I do it. People say you're too anal, you're too picky. But it's, in my opinion, one of the best ways that you're going to be able to duplicate your design You're going to get your colors orders the same on everybody. And they're going to look exactly the same from batch to batch. You're not going to have a whole lot of variation at all. So I stack these packets up. I keep them kind of in order by manufacturer. This year I've had to shuffle quite a bit of them around, but they'll last for years. Here's some for Ryan Dunford. Here's Frank Roots. Over the years, here's some templates that we used for one of his mini cars back in 2017. A lot of the designs may change slightly because of the bodies changing over the years, but I can still go back and look at those old templates if I needed to use them. So another one that I do that I keep kind of for myself is I'll have a packet where I'll just have miscellaneous templates in it for just pre-painted bodies. So that's how I store them. That's how I keep them. It's kind of picky. It's kind of, sometimes people say extremely detailed, but when you do is a lot of bodies and you get older and a lot of things kind of, you know, designs get kind of similar, the colors, the orders and stuff. Anything like this that I do helps me immensely. So you get it exactly the same from time to time. So hopefully that'll cover it for you on templates that I use. Like I said, any design that I do, I'm fortunate enough to where I've got more than enough guys that what I'm able to paint for. So what it does, it helps me refine the guys that run the work to get their designs that much more accurate, that much more crisp and clean and precise, color-wise, template-wise, and consistently the same from body to body. So if you have any other questions on any of the other stuff making the templates, shrinking up or downsizing the templates you may have questions on, let me know. I'll find a way where I can put something together to kind of show you how I do that. But other than that, it's kind of how I do my day-to-day process for painting the bodies. Every driver that I has a packet that goes with it. So the nice thing too about that is if you do travel, a lot of times I'll go on vacation or I'll travel out of town or something, I'll have something going on. When I have these in a packet like this where the names and everything is on it and the body's already washed and masked, many of times I'll travel, I'll put, 8 or 10 bodies or 12 bodies, whatever you can stack together in a backpack. I'll take all these templates with me and I'll throw me a Sharpie marker and a little spray bottle of iso alcohol, and I'll throw it in my backpack and you can take it on you. You can draw this stuff on an airplane if you want. You can do it in a car. You can do it in a hotel room. If you've got time to kill, you can sit around, you can draw out a lot of the different bodies. So a lot of times I'll take these templates and packets and bodies with me when I go on vacation, where I travel, and you can get a lot of work done even when you're on the road. So there's never a time that you can't draw and knock out some bodies. So hopefully that will help you out. Like I said, I've got a lot more videos coming. I'm just trying to find the time to place them in while I'm doing the work and kind of helping along the way. I'm still kind of working on the spray booth area with a couple of different ideas on cameras and settings so you guys can get the most out of it. And I'm not just spraying out in the air trying to talk my way through it. So hopefully that will help you out. Like I said, if you got any other questions, don't hesitate to hit me up. I appreciate you guys checking out the videos. I know this one here is going to be a little bit more lengthy, but it's got some great info in it. Hopefully you'll pick up some stuff out of it. So also remember to like my Facebook page and subscribe to the YouTube page. I see the numbers going up, and it's definitely helping a lot and kind of showing me some ideas and interests that you guys are having. So once again, thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the video and can't wait to catch the next one. Thanks.